Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here at India Day in the middle of UNGA week. Well, first of all, let me just start on behalf of the Gates Foundation with enormous thanks to the Consul General, to ORF, to the Reliance Foundation, our UN partners, for making this day possible, and in particular for making such a rich conversation about how we continue to make progress in this moment, a featured part of the discussion. I guess I would start by affirming where we were early this morning. It has been an incredible couple of decades of progress, not just in India, but around the world. When we think about the SDGs, there's so much to be proud of. We have halved the number of children who die before their 5th birthday. We have dramatically increased the number of people who have access to financial inclusion. We have done that by working in solidarity together and with remarkable leadership at the country level. So nowhere is that progress more clear than in India, of course. When you think about access to digital finance, when I was last in India, the simple access to credit of smallholder farmers was remarkable. The language, the ease of use, the ease of interaction was just in a different galaxy than we might have imagined when we started this work together. If you think about health innovations, basic sort of AI-enabled ultrasound, extending the reach of diagnostic care to pregnant women in rural areas. We talk about progress in the macroeconomic indicators, and that is important. That's what politicians need to talk about, but the impact on human lives is what motivates me and what motivates us at the foundation, and it's nowhere more clear, I think, than in India. You've done that by, of course, being sort of first in class on technology, whether it's Aadhaar or the application of AI, but actually keeping equity at the center of that. And I think that combination of technology and equity is one that has been core to who we are and how we work, and we've learned a lot about that from working with you in India. But this is not a time to just celebrate progress and go home, because too much of that progress is threatened. When we look just across town here, when we look at our work in Africa and other parts of Asia, we see many threats to that progress. Top of the list for many countries is the reshaping of the aid environment, the cuts to aid that we've seen from the US, from the UK. It's no longer a critical part of India's story. That's been part of your progress and growth, but for many countries, that aid supports significant parts of healthcare systems, education systems. And that means we will have to rethink what's possible and how to make progress in health. But we also see threats on the front of trust and connectedness in society, whether that's trust in vaccines, whether that's trust in government. We're finding that many of the institutions that have been critical to the development story are having to defend their motives, explain themselves, and do that in an information environment that can quickly be crowded and critical. And so both on the social front and the financial front, I feel we're at a moment where a lot of the progress we've made in the past 2 decades is under threat. So what are we going to do about that, and how do the lessons from India help us think about that now? So the first for me is we at the Gates Foundation are committed to defending the institutions and the structures that we believe work. We know that a strong primary healthcare system is absolutely essential for everything else to build on. You all have done that and proven that and continue to expand that in India. We also know Gavi and the Global Fund are critical highly efficient mechanisms to channel funding through to reach millions of people with vaccines, with malaria treatments, with TB treatments and prevention that are still essential. So we need to defend what we believe works. Second, we need to evolve. The aid system of the post-war era doesn't reflect the world we live in today. How do we lean on the G20? How do we lean on coalitions of the willing, ASEAN, to be leaders on the issues that we care about, where there is consensus and progress to be made? To give you an example, actually starting with the Indian G20, having DPI, a digital public infrastructure, at the core of the G20 agenda has been an absolutely critical way to advance country after country's thinking and adoption of what really is the roads and infrastructure of the modern economy, right? Digital infrastructure. So that leadership, the channel of the G20, has been essential. So we have to adapt. There is no defending without also evolution to stay relevant. And finally, I'll come back to where I was a few minutes ago. I think being clear on the values, for us, that combination of innovation, forward-leaning on innovation, combined with the prioritization of equity, is something India is getting right and that we believe needs to be part of how we approach development in the years ahead. Thank you.